When you put your recycling out on the curb, where does it actually go? Well, viewers want to know if the items they put in their recycling bin get recycled or end up in a landfill.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. Our 13 Investigates is actually going undercover to find out. Our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel has the story.
Nearly 250,000 families in central Indiana participate in curbside recycling. But once your recycling is picked up and the truck drives away, do you know where your recycling is really going?
No, I actually have literally no idea where it goes.
It's really just a question mark.
I'm hoping it's going to a recycling facility, but there's no way for us to know.
Actually, there is. For weeks, 13 Investigates has been tracking individual loads of recycling all over town. We used electronic tracking devices, a bunch of undercover cameras, even some drones to see where all this stuff is going. What we saw raised some big questions.
Why is he going over there? He's heading toward the landfill.
And we also got some definitive answers. To track recycling, we got help from families like the Bradshaws. On recycling day, they allowed 13 Investigates to add this to their recycling. It's a plastic bottle with a GPS tracker inside. Once that's in place, we wait for Republic Services to pick up the recycling. And then,
All right, we're moving.
we followed behind. 13 Investigates followed the truck through neighborhoods and across the north side of Indianapolis.
All right, we're getting on the highway.
Until eventually, we watched the truck pull into this driveway on the northwest side. We continue to follow around a large building where we then see the truck dump its load. A few minutes later, our GPS tracker confirms the Bradshaw's recycling is right inside those doors. So what happens in that building? Republic agreed to show us.
We're loaded into our drum feeder.
The material you just saw dumped gets picked up and then fed into a huge machine with a long series of conveyor belts. In the pre-sort area, staff members pull out items that could damage the equipment.
In all these plastic bags, they want to get them out, get them out, get them out.
Cardboard keeps moving. Plastic, glass, and small paper, it falls through holes to lower belts. Optical sorters identify aluminum and plastic. Those go to separate areas.
Anything that's metal, we pull out the system here.
Glass is separated and crushed. Robots catch items that were missed. And eventually, each type of material gets baled up and shipped off to other companies to make new products. So, when it comes to the items we saw in the Bradshaw's recycle bin,
Is this stuff really getting recycled?
They are 100% truly recycled here.
that's Republic. But a lot of Indiana families who recycle now rely on Waste Management that recently took over Ray's Recycling, leaving folks like Matt Griffin with a lot of questions.
I'm hoping for the best.
So we tracked Matt's recycling too. A Waste Management truck picked up Matt's trash, and 2 minutes later, a separate truck that looks nearly identical collected the recycling. We followed that truck as it picked up more bins in Matt's neighborhood. From there, we followed the truck from Brownsburg to the highway, eventually watching as it slowly backed into a warehouse off Raymond Street. And after the truck left, our tracker showed Matt's recycling was now inside that mountain of material. This is Waste Management's main curbside recycling facility in Indianapolis.
So we'll just stop here, get a quick view.
The company agreed to show us what's about to happen to Matt's recycling.
That's the inbound conveyor right there.
Just like we saw at Republic, high-tech machines and people sort it all out.
Smaller stuff is falling through the series of holes.
Cardboard and paper get separated from plastic. Aluminum goes over here, glass ends up there.
This is what it looks like at the end.
These bales are then loaded onto semis and shipped to companies that turn them into new products. That semi is headed to Kentucky, where the recycled cardboard will become new boxes.
If you want to pay for recycling service, it is absolutely going to get recycled.
But it's easy to understand why some people are skeptical. Watch what happens after we put a tracker in Debbie Horn's recycle bin. A Waste Management truck picks up a recycling in Hancock County. Our 13 Investigates cameras follow the truck to Shelby County.
Why is he going over there? He's heading toward the landfill.
That's right. We watched the truck pull into a huge landfill near Morristown. But it does not dump out its recycling. The truck just uses the weigh station inside the landfill and then it leaves. Our tracker shows the truck unloaded Debbie's recycling inside this waste management transfer station near the landfill. Waste Management then trucks the material 33 miles to its processing center in Indianapolis to go through the recycling line. The reality is, if Waste Management or Republic were to send these materials to a landfill, they'd have to pay $30 to $40 a ton to dispose of it. They'd rather recycle this stuff and make a profit.
Each one of these bales is about $1,300 in value. No way do I want that going to a landfill.
Unfortunately, a lot of material picked up by these recycling trucks does end up in a landfill. That's because folks put a lot of stuff into these bins that should not be there. Just look at what's in that recycle pile. Someone tried to recycle a roll of carpet, even a garden hose. That plastic toy, it cannot be recycled because of the wiring and metal screws inside.
People don't think about it when they're putting it in a container always, and that stuff does go to a landfill.
And there's a lot of that. Local recycling companies say up to 30% of the materials that Hoosiers put into our recycle bins cannot be recycled. Once it gets to the end of that conveyor belt, it's headed to the trash pile.
Knowing what to throw is extremely important so they can be brought back here and processed versus having to be processed and then taken over to a landfill.
The good news for families like these, their recycling does not end up in a landfill. After tracking from bin to bale, we can verify it actually is being recycled.
That's great. That makes me feel a lot better.
You heard the company say how important it is to understand what can go in your recycle bin and what does not belong there. We have all that broken down for you right now at WTHR.com. I'm Bob Siegel, 13 Investigates.